Yeah, back on now. So, continuance on YouTube, I got booted off. Now let's leave off where we already left off because I have one viewer on my YouTube. Okay, and as I was saying, as far as relationships go, you love who you love. And like I said, some will say, well, like gay relationships are wrong. No, actually, they're not. You only think it's wrong because you've been taught and told it's wrong. If a man wants to hump another man up the anus, well, that's not anger. That's what they enjoy. Or if a woman wants to strap on and be with another woman, that's their business. It's fucking not yours. You don't want to go look and be walking around and see a man kissing a man or a woman kissing a woman, but it's okay if you see heterosexuals kissing a man and a woman kissing each other because you say that's the way it's supposed to be. But who are you to say who somebody is supposed to love? Because a lot of the time with relationships, it's not about the person you see, the mask you see, the facade you see. These people see beyond that. The ones that are not shallow see beyond that, and they actually see the person's soul. Do I like? How do I feel about like men going around and plastering their makeup on like the way some of them do? I think those ones a lot of the time I believe were posers. They're actually not all transgender. They're just trying to bully their way. So those are the ones that give the transgender community a bad reputation. Okay. And then I hear about like pansexual people who don't identify male or female. Why are we so offended? I'm not gonna like if I see you as a female, I'm gonna recognize you as a female. If I see you your exterior as a man, I'm gonna recognize you as a man because that's how you were born. And if you take offense to that, well, that's not my problem. That's yours. Because part of be proud of your body, whether you recognize, whether you identify one way or another. It's not about identifying as a man or a woman. You identify more feminine or you identify more masculine. Because, like I said, your testosterone. They say about if you take your fingers and your ring finger is higher than your index finger, then you have more testosterone. So shit, I got it on both. More so on this hand. Seriously, you're all born with testosterone, and you're all born with estrogen. Thank you. I heard somebody try. I could feel that coming out. Why do you think that some women get facial hair? I know a few people, and they get dark facial hair. So what are you going to say about them? You're going to say, oh, well, they're getting injections. No, they're not getting injections. They just have more testosterone. Do I recommend people going and taking pills to change their hormones and genders? No, I don't, because it's not healthy for you. It's not good for your body. It's actually going to make you sterile. I don't think you should be mutilating your body at all. I think you should be proud of it without feeling like you have to change it. I think a lot of the time, the reason why people change their body is because they feel that that's the only way that they're going to be recognized as how they identify, which is another part of a stigmata, so that people feel uncomfortable in their skin because of other people, because they don't accept them. They're trying to be accepted, and ignorance is keeping others from being accepted, and then they're not comfortable with themselves. Don't recommend people going and getting surgery to change their gender. Be proud of who you are. Be proud, because I'll tell you right now, you are two-spirited. It means that you are more connected with the Christ consciousness than other people. And it's on them for making you feel uncomfortable, but just walk away from it. You don't have to plaster makeup on and put a dress on or go get boobs or anything like that. Maybe some men go get them because, they can't get a they can't find a woman, and they want to feel some boobs, so they go to themselves. Seriously, anything, like, you don't know what's going through the mind of people. You have guys, young men, that are going out and killing women because the woman turned them away. How are you approaching the woman? Why are you mad at the woman? Because they're not interested in you. Or why are you angry with the man? Because they're not interested in you. That's a you thing. Some people don't agree with you, and that's totally fine. But it's sense. It's common sense. You say about these people making money, well, why do you think they're playing on your emotions? Why do you think they're playing on your sexuality? Because as long as they can do that, then you become profit to them. Like, you think of it this way: women are going for artificial insemination, they're going for fertility therapy and what have you. And why is that? Because the sperm count is low, or because the egg count is low. And why is it low? It's because of all the crap that you're putting in your body that's causing it to happen. Plastics will, but they'll say, oh, well, that's a debunked. No, it's not debunked. None of it is debunked. The only ones that say it's debunked are the ones that's fucking profiting off of it. This is things that go wrong in relationships. You get some people that are in a relationship, and they're in a relationship with like a man and a woman, but one of them's gay, but they're staying in that relationship because they're afraid of what other people in their family or in their church or what have you will think. So they remain unhappy. They become addicted to substances. They become angry, extremely unhappy, unable to function. You're living life in a denial. because they feel that they can't be themselves and be accepted. But that's on the fault of the people who are ignorant about it. Need somebody in a store or something like that. That's a quick form of a relationship. It's a long-term relationship. You could have a friend and 2 months you're friends, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, the relationship wasn't, there was something missing from the relationship. There was something in the relationship that they didn't like. A lot of people, it's hard for a lot of people to be around me because they think that I'm judging them, which I'm not judging them. I'm actually experiencing what they're feeling about themselves anyways, and I'm just bringing it forward. And hey, it's that part of talking about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. I'm gonna pull. I pull it out. So if you feel like I'm judging you, I'm judging you accordingly. Some people say only God judges. God judges through you. And it's up to you whether or not you're going to judge the situation or the person appropriately. But that's where you got to realize that everything is a spirit to spirit, and you're always experiencing jumpers. If the person is not secure within themselves and they don't have their own shadow work, they don't have their own inner work. And that's what creates conflict within a relationship too. Like when I was 14 and it wasn't taught to me about sex education from my parents or what have you. Maybe it wasn't taught to my mom about it because my mom was 15 when she got pregnant. Should we feel ashamed for being pregnant at that age? No, why would we? Should our parents be looking at things differently? Yes, big time. Because if you have a daughter, once that daughter starts her menstrual cycle, that's when you should really be having the conversation. Because they're supposed to be able to come to you. I never got that conversation from my mom. I started my menstrual cycle at day camp one day at a museum with a pair of white pants on. And I had to tell my counselor, like, hey, I'm bleeding. And they had to tell me you're starting your period. You wonder why your children don't talk to you. That's on you. It's not the school or education's fault. It's yours. It's the same as your children talking about transgender and what have you. You don't want the schools teaching about it, but you don't want to educate your own children about it. But like I said before, the parents should be educated. Whether you like it or not, it's out there. It's in your schools. It's in your workplace. It's in your medical community. It's in your justice community. It's in your own home. And it may even be you struggling with it. So my question is, when are you going to have those hard conversations with your own children? When are you going to learn to educate yourself instead of putting a stigmata on it and saying it's legal? Seriously, get your head out your fucking ass. With regard, I can tell when somebody is being honest with themselves. I can go one guy and he had smeared all over his face and I think he had a fucking wig on and he had a dress on and he was saying, if I go into any woman's bathroom and they try to stop me, I'm gonna fucking punch them out. You're a fucking man, jackass. That's why you're behaving like that. You have a hate on for women. And those are the people that give the actual transgender community a bad reputation. Should that stuff be brought into politics? Fuck no. Should transgender people be going into, like, a transgender man be going into a woman's washroom? No. And I say that because there are children going, no, you should not. You have a penis. Should they bring back co-ed washrooms? Yes, because then it's a choice of whether somebody wants to use that co-ed. That gives transgender community the ability to go in and use it. See, maybe a man wouldn't care if a woman went in the men's washroom. Women do. Should transgender people going into a woman's division? No, I don't agree with that. If transgender wants to compete, have a transgender. Seriously. And some may not like that. And if you don't like me saying that, then there's a problem there. Because it means that for some reason you're really trying hard to get into a woman's washroom. And I have to ask why. Because any man can dress in a dress and put lipstick on and put a wig on and say, oh, well, I identify as a woman. And some of you may not agree with me on that. And if you don't agree with me with regards to being in, like, transgender sports, because then it's a choice for you to compete against women. Having a man, which identifies as a woman, an actual woman, no. I don't agree with that. So if people want to say something about me with regards to that, well, you do that. You only hate the idea because obviously, maybe you have an ulterior motive. I know when it's true transgender because they're actually very feminine and they look like a woman. See, the ones that like they're mocking, and like I said, they're actually like that guy and one's figuring that they should be up against that they should be up against women. No. And should women be entering into men's sports? No. If you want to have men and women, whether they're transgender or not, then you have a co-ed. But that's for sports, not going in somewhere where you're going to beat the shit out of each other. Because that's just a man who wants to beat the shit out of a woman. And then they think they're big because they did it. I'll probably have lots of people who won't like me, but I'm not picking sides. I'm just speaking truth. I'm being about it. Something that, some people aren't able to do, not like whether they're heterosexual or gay or straight, like whether they're gay, straight, or like man, woman, transgender, I don't care. And I'm not being rude about it. Certain people affiliated with the church, they try to condemn me for it. And I'm not trying shame. I know somebody that, shit, man, they were like in their 60s, late 50s, early 60s, before they even got married and everything, before they actually was able to admit, like they knew themselves, but before they were able to even admit to their family, which, I mean, their family wasn't stupid. They already knew that they were gay, but they just had to come out with it. And now they're happy. Shouldn't matter whether your loved ones are gay or straight. As long as they're happy, that's what you should be happy with. If they're same sex, well, it's two women, one of the women or both the women can, get artificially inseminated so they can still have a baby. Two men can go adopt a child. Seriously. As a race, and it doesn't matter what the fuck color you are or what you believe in. It shouldn't matter who somebody else loves. If you're interfering that and you're having an opinion about it, I'm here to tell you, it's really none of your fucking business who they fall in love with. That's your opinion. That's the part of you that you need to get over and figure out why you have a problem with it. And don't say and don't just say, oh well, because it's wrong, because that's something you were taught. If you weren't taught that, would you think it was wrong? Probably not. You'd just think it was normal. Yeah. We make our own mess and we blame someone or something else. And the big problem is because you can't be honest with yourself. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't care who you are, everyone has had gay thoughts. And you can be in denial of that, and I'll tell you, you're fucking full of shit. It's called curiosity. Somebody just said curiosity killed the cat. Well, guess what? Curiosity actually saved her because it had sense enough to go searching around to find another route to get free. Might have had some trials along the way, but it found a way to survive and set itself free. So if you didn't have curiosity, I guess you'd be sitting still and you wouldn't know nothing because you wouldn't question it. You wouldn't search for something. It's using common sense and your mind and putting your heart into but to some, it's all about using the mind and you got to set the heart. You got to put the heart aside because if you put the heart in it, then you get hurt. Well, fuck that. I guess you better stand still and not move anywhere. Sit there and twiddle your thumbs and be careful you don't bang them together. So when I hear men bashing about women and women bashing about men, it's like, do your inner work. And then you wouldn't wind up in relationships like that because you'd see them coming and you'd realize, no, I don't want that because you'd recognize it. Maybe one person that's not for you, maybe they're for that person just down the road. But a big thing in a relationship is having more things in common than not. Enjoying each other's company, enjoying the conversations, enjoying sitting down and watching a movie together because you both enjoy the same things. The person you're looking for when relationships aren't working, the person you're looking for is that other half of yourself. So in order to find that other half of yourself, you have to find yourself. That's the part of lost souls, fallen angels. So sit with that. And with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, good health. Shit, man. I we want you to keep talking. That's why they talk. No, you're not finishing us. Go get my foot and you see the back. Trans talk, no filters. You'll find a filter on me. I talk about the hard stuff, the stuff that a lot of people they don't want to talk about. And you know, there's somebody I know, it's like when we were younger, we go to the bar and we would pretend that we were gay because we would get free drinks. Because you know the men got turned on by that. So gay lesbians were accepted. But men weren't. You know, I remember this one night we were at the bar and there was a couple guys there and we were up on the dance floor. We were horsing around and I took a hold of her and I put my arm around her and I put my hand here and I put my thumb there and like that and kissed my thumb as if I was kissing her. But I had my own bisexual, like not a relationship, but sexual, and I'm not ashamed to say I did. And I actually enjoyed it. You know, some people in my family was like, what are you going on there and talk about stuff like that? Because I'm not ashamed. And I didn't hide it. I even kissed women in a bar, like actually kissed them in a bar. But I'm not gay. So it's a part, you know, I can bring my stuff forward because I've done my shadow work and realized, you know, maybe I did do some foolish things and things were just not right to do. But I had to see that for myself. And like my ex-husband who said, you hate men, you hate men. No, I don't fucking hate men. I don't put all men in the same category. So there's a big difference there. And until you can find your own inner security, then you're going to continue with the same type of relationships. So it's like, you know, my ex-husband tells me you hate men. I must say to him, well, I have. Like, well, I guess, you know, the way you act, you hate women. Because all you ever do is say about how women do this and women do that. Well, maybe women should sew up their vaginas so they don't produce babies for you fucking men. And then no more you would be born. There was this thing that the president was going to pay women $5,000 or something like that if they had 6 kids or more. Seriously, dude. We're not your fucking baby mills. Women don't just want to have a baby for the sake of having a baby. Women want to have babies because when they're in a secure relationship and family relationship, should we be raising children? I mean, we can, but it's really, I don't recommend it because the child needs both the mother and the father. And it doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. Child welfare going and taking people's children, well, you know what they need to be doing instead of always taking the children is helping the families, finding out what's happening in the family instead of moving it, helping to make things better for the family instead of trying to fucking destroy it. Because that's what they're good at. And that's not them doing their job. Because I'll tell you right now, when I lost custody of my youngest son back in 1999, I started volunteering in the resource room not long after school started in 1998. And I had been going 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, teaching resource children in resource. And I was very respected and appreciated. And then when I used the Ouija board, or spirit board, however people call it, and I ended up in the hospital, oh, well, hey, the teacher had some nasty words to say about me, that my kid was coming to school unfed and uncleaned and everything. It's like, bitch. And then I found out that, that teacher was the wife of my son's father's lawyer. So she was making sure her husband won. I got screwed over by the medical system, the educational system, and the justice system. And they had all worked together. Because not only was it the hospital, but it was actually also an assessor. She told me to move to be closer to my son, and that was used against me in the courtroom because they say, and yet another move. So I went 6 years without having custody of my son, and I went through hell with my son's father and with the justice system because they treated me like there was something wrong with me. And it was all illegal what they did. It was all against my rights. They didn't need to take my child away from me. I didn't hurt my child. I was actually the one that called my son's father and told him, like, hey, you better come pick him up because there's something wrong. I have to go to the hospital. He showed up with the fucking police. And they were holding on to their guns. I asked them, leave your guns outside. And then he wrote in his affidavit that the police told him to go for custody of my son. Why? because I called for help and I was drawing some stars and crosses. My son was fed all the time. He would get food and I would starve. And then people would say about how thin I was. Well, I wonder why. So that was the relationship that I had with my son's father. That was the relationship that I had with the medical system, the educational system, and the justice system. So do I trust them now? Fuck no. Because every situation was terrible. And that wasn't the first time. But see, I don't have a problem with everybody else in it. What I have a problem with is the way it is run. And how those those people like that get away with it. And then the stigmata is put on people like you and myself. My sexuality was held against me because I didn't have any other children, and I couldn't because the doctor took it upon himself to cut, burn, and tie my tubes after he was only supposed to tie them. And he didn't tell me what he did. I had to find out like years later. That was in 95 that I got my tubes tied, and it was 2003 that I found out that he had cut, burn, and tied them. So there was the medical system again. Had a relationship with a gynecologist that was supposed to like give me a hysterectomy. But guess what? The anesthesiologist, when she was putting the anesthetic in, she put the IV in and she took the anesthetic and she put it out and she went like that. So when she pushed it hard, instead of pushing it slow, so the anesthetic was in the arm, it all backlashed. So none of the anesthetic went in my body. And what did she do? Took a paper towel and dabbed it like this, took a whole bunch of tape and wrapped it around my arm and said, let's hope it doesn't fall out. It wasn't until that was done in 2014. It wasn't until 2017 or thereabouts that I found out that halfway through surgery, they bring you out, like halfway, so that they could check your vital signs to make sure you're okay. But where there was no anesthetic, the only thing they had was that laughing gas for me to sleep. I actually felt them cutting my vagina and my insides and pulling my uterus out through my vagina. And they're supposed to leave you in the recovery room. They keep you in there until you wake up, and then they keep you about an hour, hour and a half after you wake up. I didn't wake up in the recovery room. I woke up in my room in pain and fucking confused because I didn't know where the hell I was. And I was alone. That's the relationship with the medical system. So, like I said, it's not just about romantic relationships. It's a relationship that you have with what is perceived to be, supposed to be, a professional in your field of work. But some people won't look at that. I'm in about struggles of relationships, struggles in relationships, and I didn't say what relationship. It all comes back to trust. It all comes back to that connection of the relationship, the understanding. Well, I could like horror stories. I had my first miscarriage for twins was I went to the doctor and I told her that I needed a certain needle because of my blood type and because she was too hooked on her drugs and alcohol. She looked at me and told me to go home that I was going to lose the baby anyway, and I fucking never liked it. So you sit with that. There was no recourse for me to go after them because they're protected, right? My protection. Where's your protection? Maybe you're the one that has done something like that to someone and you think it was justifiable or okay, well, it wasn't. And they should no longer have their license to practice. Because if they've done it to me, I'm not the one who's done it to. Because they only do it because they get away with doing it. There's human error. And then there's this excuse of human error. That was all a breach of trust. And that was supposed to be a professional relationship. That was supposed to be people that I was supposed to trust. And I put my life in their hands. So people don't understand this. And I view it like my story is brought out for people to understand. It's not for you to feel sorry for me. It's for you to open up and see your own fucking experiences and realize what was wrong. And it's because you don't speak up, you don't address the elephant in the room, because those are the people that don't hear it. Because the truth fucking hurts. Sikaliang tutuloy siya na ganyan. Eh ako tutuloy ka yan. Susutuloy. So I trust my ex-husband. No, not really. But it's not something that I don't tell him. Because see, it pisses me off. Because he knew my whole life story. And he chose to treat me like shit after telling me they love me. He's getting better. We're not together. He's getting better because I'm not fucking backing down. I'm not taking that shit anymore. And people don't like it. I call out that elephant in the room. I will call out your traumas. I will make you see your own ignorance. whether it makes me look like an asshole or not. But it's only your projection to me, so I'm just projecting it back onto you. I'm speaking my truth to help you to see and speak to others. I've told people on here many times, go and tell your story. Don't be ashamed of your story. Tell your story, and if somebody says, "Oh, you're looking for attention," tell them, "You see, look what the putting." Because you're the one that has the courage to speak up. Because by you speaking up, it helps others to look at their own stuff so that they speak up about it. Because that's how it's going to stop. Because you're going to address that elephant in the room, that thing in the room that everybody wants to go, la 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 la, I can't hear you, I can't see it, I can't hear you. Dito pure piano studiare. Like my nose is bleeding. But sometimes when I do, when I go into the, my nose will start bleeding because it's the constant bringing forward. And others will send attacks at me. See, it doesn't matter if you're in the church or not in the church. It doesn't matter if you're religious or atheist. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bisexual, man, woman, transgender, but you know, if you're transgender, be an authentic transgender and don't just try to get your way in somewhere because you got to hate on for the opposite. You know, tell your story of your experiences. I had a Facebook group. It was talk about your experiences with the province healthcare system, how you were treated, what you experienced. Doesn't matter if it was good or bad. Bring the awareness. That's what they don't want you doing. They don't want you talking about it. That's why they'll shadow ban me. They'll limit my views and everything like that. But I know it's getting through. And when they shadow ban people, why they're shadow banning people, it's because they know what they're bringing forward on their platform or their channel is true. And truth always hurts. You know, right now your political stuff, I mean, like it's bringing religion into it, and your political stuff is supposed to be unbiased, but it's fucking biased as fuck because it's catering to certain groups, and you know, and like certain groups that I'm referring to, it's all to do with money and who's going to suck whose ass. You know, I commented today that you know someone's press secretary, like he should. They both like they both like rolling and they both like rolling in bullshit, and they both hide behind a religion. Just because you wear a cross doesn't mean you're a believer or authentic. Maybe you're just hiding behind the cross because you're the one that crucifies a person like him. But But then you say about, oh, this. Meanwhile, you're corrupt as fuck. So don't hide behind religion. And don't bring religion into politics. Does God need to be brought back into the world? Individual. And that's how it comes back. Just my dad said that they need to bring God back into school. But not through a book. Teaching our children how to meditate, teaching them yoga, teaching them inner stillness. Not about forcing shit on them. I seen one thing where, they were gonna like go in and force morals on people. You can't, that's not the way to do it. You can't force moral on somebody because you're gonna just turn them in the opposite direction. It's being able to have that relationship. Like I've seen things about, the president, whether it's shirt, I don't know, doing an executive order where, you talk up about me, you say anything bad about me, you're going to jail for 10 years. Like, shit, man. You like to criticize everybody else, but when somebody criticizes you, you can't take it, right? I'm not here to criticize people, although people will think that's what I'm doing. Like I see people wanting like to invite me. I'm not ready for that right now because I connect with everyone and I may come off as an asshole. I have before reading comments. When there's a conversation, I like to disagree with you. I came in to help you see good, bad, and ugly because I had my own. That part of, if you're not going to look at your own shit, then don't say shit about somebody else. I'm not going to suppress myself anymore just because somebody feels uncomfortable. Because it's their own insecurities that make them feel uncomfortable for their own limited beliefs or ignorances. Because they don't want to step outside the box and see something different. Because they always have to have those blinders on. Because if they don't see it, then it don't exist. And then you wonder why physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And yes, I did say the word spiritually. You might want to understand the difference between spiritual and religion. Because Christ taught me to love myself and not to worship other people. You know, when you love yourself and you understand yourself, and like I said, you begin to understand others, so it makes your relationships easier. It's coming back to self. That's the price. And certain affiliations and belief systems, they'll poo-poo it, and that's fine. But you might want to look at the wording differently. You might want to really understand what the seven spirits represent. What the seven demon spirits that can be represented. Because it's the building blocks from the ground up. The temple. And that's what's going to bring you closer with your relationships. But first off, you have to stop being afraid to speak about things. Because it all comes back to people intimidating someone because they don't know what they're appreciating. And the people that are looking at their stuff, it affects them because they can't look. So it becomes an irritant. And that's where relationships fall apart. Some people on here, they say, go away from even your loved ones. Like, leave them, go away from them, abandon them. That's the fucking problem. That's what's creating the problem. Everybody's deciding to abandon everybody. So you'd abandon your own fucking child just because they put a cramp in your style. Seriously. If a child's gonna have to put a cramp in your style, don't fucking have one. Because the child is responsible. And if you're feeling that way, obviously you're not ready for it. Because you can't even be responsible for yourself. People say about love and light, love and light, love and light. So you're gonna push them down, push them down. I just got treated like shit. Oh, love and light, love and light. I just got treated like shit. Oh, love and light, love and light. And my mom, no, I'm just calling it the elephant. I have love and light. Just because I have emotion doesn't mean I don't have love and light. Because emotion is part of that love. That emotion is called feelings. Some people say, oh, feelings are bad. No, feelings are not bad. Pushing your feelings down is what's bad. Because when they eventually, they're going to come up, and most of the time, they come up as an explosion. So it's better to allow yourself to experience your emotions and feelings. Keep fucking hands to yourself. Speak up for yourself. Even if you feel like that person's not listening, at least you said what you had to say, and then walk away. Sometimes they say unsaid speaks mountains, depending on the situation. Because sometimes when you don't say anything, they believe that they have the upper hand. So they believe that they can keep talking to you the way they do, treating you the way they do. They'll just walk away and take it. And then you say, oh, just go away and let somebody else to deal with it. Why leave it to somebody else to deal with it? Why not just fucking deal with it yourself? Instead of leaving it to be somebody else's problem. Right now, I'm feeling my face stretch and go through my body and head and it feels good when it happens because it represents a release. You're letting go of those. You're allowing those feelings to release. You're allowing yourself to feel it. So then it just, and like I said, some of you may want with this, and, that's totally fine. But I'm going to ask you, are you experiencing anything from this? Are you feeling anything from it? And it speaks to what emotion or what you feel towards me. It means that you're experiencing your soul, your heart, your mind is experiencing. You're resonating. You're seeing it to be very similar to your own life stories. Because it's that part of, I know you are me. I connect with you, you connect with me, and that's why we're experiencing each other. We can experience each other in a positive way or negative way. Negative way. 4 to 6 of them, I think, is really good. And the kids are running. You live with the kids today? Woohoo, today. They're out there playing. He said, "Let them look at the money." He said, "I'm not." July. I'm having a conversation with spirit right now. They're spirits. You just sit and move to there. I know. And look at the previous city there. But should I said I keep going. I like allow yourself to feel your emotions because that's why your body's feeling. That's why you're suffering from mental anguish. Because you're not allowing yourself to experience those feelings. You're just pushing them down and suppressing. And each time that you do that, that's a piece of you that you're pushing down. And the way to healing is not pushing it down. It's allowing yourself to feel it, even when it hurts. And let me tell you, sometimes it's extremely fucking painful. Right now, I'm feeling it right here. It's like, I don't know if my eyes are bug-eyed, but they feel like they are. It's like some people say, well, what the fuck are you doing? I'm one spirit. I took me some time. Hello, doing? Yes, I'm right. I had my therapist ask me today, like, when that happens to you, does that hurt? I told him, like, sometimes, yeah, more hurts in the head, but sometimes it does hurt. And then when it happens, it's like, I know it's people like attacking, shifting and they're attacking and what have you, and they're fighting back and forth. So it's like, they should gonna put the confusion out. Tell them, like, swear the fuck up. And I am like this with my therapist. It's that part of ask the questions. I don't want him to be afraid to ask me questions about what he's witnessing. It's part of the witness. Kita boleh kiri yang mau today. It's so that the want to put it. Really, like in my life, like my immediate family, because my ex-husband is still my family, whether we're together or not. I could say that like he's my best friend in many ways. And when I'm around him, I'm able to speak the languages freely. I still speak it around my family sometimes. But my oldest sister, that's a relationship between her and my older sister. Not my oldest, but my older sister told me that she told my family that, when she talks like that, just pay no attention to it. It's like you're a fucking asshole and you have some real inner work to do. Because you're telling my family to ignore me, and that was the fucking problem all along. How about I tell them to fucking ignore you whenever you call and say, oh, that's not bad to tell you. And then you tell them I have cataracts. But I go tell them that I was sexually assaulted by someone. And it's like, oh, or you've always got problems. It's like, yes. And some of my problems came from my family life. But it's not that I have problems. It's maybe I just need someone to talk to, the same as you do, or those people do. They want to talk to you, but when you need someone to talk to, you always get problems. And oh, you're always a jackass asshole. I don't have a problem with people talking to me. But if you want people, if you want and expect people to, be open to talking to you or listening to you might want to return the same thing and be their ear when they need someone. Because if you're not going to do that, then you're selfish. You want somebody to talk to, but you don't want to give the same thing in return. Go sit by yourself and talk to the fucking phone. Because do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. Because I tell you, if you're doing that to what you perceive, you say with your friends, and you're doing that to your friends, you're not a fucking friend. That's another relationship. My ex-husband says that, you know, you have a friend when they haven't fucked you over before you die. It's like, first off, maybe you need to learn how to be a friend to actually experience true friend. Or maybe you need to see yourself that maybe you're not a very good friend, husband, parent, because that's what you witnessed with. That's how I see things. Yes, they're responsible for their own actions and they're responsible to change it. But it's like a program. You have to go in with the antivirus. You have to break that cycle. And the cycle has been passed down from generation to generation to generation to generations for millennials. Que de acordo com esse imešala kad dabar galėjimus energetiką įsitikinti. It's like, hello, hello, consciousness. Where are you? I'm here. I'm here, but you're suppressing me. Am I walking? No, I'm just saying. Or your inner child is screaming. That part of you that we keep pushing down every experience we have through different forms of relationships. Every time you don't address it or speak up about it, you push it down and you keep that crap going. because it keeps moving on to the next person. Address it. Because when you let it fester, it's like a fucking boil. When that boil explodes, man, not only is it gooey, sticky, funny, but it smells disgusting. Yeah, people probably wonder, like, why are you twitching your head? It's because I'm feeling it. Like I know when I get those jerks, twinges, and like, I just turn the top. Oh shit. It's like that part of the pain has left. Era muito querida para esse rumo é neste tema é isso. And if people think I'm speaking gibberish, well, that's your misinterpretation. Because just because I'm not speaking English, which English was never a first language. It was I mean, every language is made up. See people say in Canada English was the first language. Fuck, it was. English wasn't the first language. Every other language but English was the first language. You just brought it over and freaking forced it on people because you wouldn't take the time to understand their language. Speak spirit. I speak the languages of my ancestors. You don't like it? Too damn bad for you. You're not going to suppress it again. And I encourage everyone to bring back their ancestors' language. And if the English community don't like it, then they might want to learn to understand ours as they want us to understand theirs. Piscina foi, era uma escorpião no meu sad. See, that's what they did to my ancestors too. They suppressed my ancestors' language because they were speaking a corrupt dialect. French, German, English, Swiss, all intertwined together. The universal languages. So I don't stand up for one group. I stand up for everyone. Because that's the way it was always supposed to be. Dividing everyone. Because that's the true racism. Because it doesn't matter what culture, what color you are, what religion you are, what ethnic background you are, what gender you are. All I ever hear is people talking about other people and their beliefs and the way they look and everything like that. That's the true racism. And it's taught through your systems. And I gotta ask, when are you guys gonna wake up and realize? It's not one group racist to another. It's everyone's racist towards each other in different ways. So until we start realizing that, relationships are not going to change. They're just going to keep going the same way. And my question is, when are you going to be ready to have a relationship with yourself first? Understand yourself. Truly understand yourself, and don't just oh, I do understand myself. Well, your actions and your words speak otherwise. I want to be the one I call baby. You want to call yourself baby. You want to call that other half of you that you're in search of when you can't find it in relationships. You're looking for that part of you. You're Christ. I did a video back 3 years ago, and I said, I want my Jesus back. I want my Christ. I want that other half of me back, that other piece of me, the other half of my heart, because that's the balance. When you get angry or upset, you give that piece of your heart away. And it's part of when you give that piece of your heart away, it's because you're walking away from yourself. I la tuve que dar. I feel that in my heart right now. Like today when I was in my therapist's office, I was explaining every time I said something and I experienced it. I was telling what I was experiencing from it. And it left him a little confused. I don't know if I was feeling that. It's like if you were questioning yourself, if you were, because I was explaining that I'm feeling that emotion because I'm feeling it too deep. It's like doing that clearing. It's like when you say, I'm rushing. You must have to cure him. And it was a grave. So, should have said, I'm going to be there. Go talk to the key on time. It's like, yeah, right there. It's like you're tight here. And it's like clay, and sometimes when it comes together, it's that resistance. So when you have that resistance, it's like a push on itself. And then when you move it, you get that release. Sometimes it can be subtle. Sometimes it can be expansive. It's like, and in all honesty, sometimes it can actually feel better than an orgasm, depending on the intensity. Se la procura era que tu conhecesse, tudo isso porque era que eu It's not about understanding the language as it is experiencing it, feeling it. And my older sister, she said, "Well, I don't feel anything from it." Well, obviously you do because you're getting irritated by it. Your shadows, because it's hitting that nerve. And I know when it's happening because I feel that resistance and I feel that disdain and anger towards me. That's why you'll see me do this around people. It's like, take your energy, get it the fuck off me, and wear it yourself. But I'm going to show you where it's at first. And if the young see that I'm sure this is really way of yourself. To be visible. Oh yeah, I don't know how long I've been on here because okay, I've been on here 2 hours because it was like 29 minutes in when YouTube cut me off. They didn't like what I had to say. It hit a nerve. It's like, hi, let's do this. So if people take offense to what I bring forward on my channel platform, what have you, that's on you. I'm just saying, you shouldn't. You should take it to heart. But it's entirely up to yourself. Sitting with yourself, get to know yourself. Don't be afraid to know you. That's the best medicine. And you're your best therapist. So I will tell you, go again and go in again. Go in and do a video. So it doesn't have to be live or anything. You don't have to post it. But maybe one day you will post your story. But first, go in and do your interview with yourself. Do a video. Have that hard conversation. And have that hard conversation as if you're talking to that person you're upset or frustrated. And then go back and watch it. Because you are that person. Know that you are loved, even if people tell you that you're not. Always have to love when you realize the love has to come from love for yourself first, and then you understand it. And it's saying in that Justin song, "Go ahead and love yourself." You're fucking right about love yourself, and you should go love yourself too. So, oh shit. Io sono l'amichino, eh. Certo, pure me. Okay. I was saying, I guess I'm directed to do this. This is a message to everyone from the universe. Get emotionally associated. Get my oh shit. Oh, hands and are flipped. Ha ha! Shadow, they were the beautiful. Justin Bieber, I'm gonna go ahead and love myself, and I think you should too. I know they fucked you up, but maybe you need to go love yourself again. And you should tell your parents off for fucking betraying you. Okay. Emotional loss, light, transformation, suffering in silence, shadow, wisdom. Okay. So let's do this. This is a message from the universe to all of you. Okay. Make sure I get lined up right. I don't do a lot of card readings. Sometimes Spirit gets me to do one. Because sometimes some people can only, relate to the cards and not what I bring forward. So I'm trying to figure this out. So emotional kidney. So okay. So what's happening when you're doing that in your work, okay? A lot of time right now when people are isolated and what I spoke about, you're feeling alone, okay? You feel like there's no one there for you, okay? So it's like you're suffering in that silence, okay? Because you're afraid to speak up or say something or what it is that you're feeling or experiencing or what have you because of what others will think of it. And when you start to do your shadow work, your inner work, and you start letting go of the past, it can create more like the emotional loss, okay? Because it feels like you're losing parts of yourself, but you're actually letting go of the pain. So it feels emotional, it feels like a loss, but it's actually you have to let it go to bring in something better. And that creates your inner transformation. When you create your inner transformation, you start seeing things, you start experiencing better things, you start learning things, and it starts making sense, which brings about your own wisdom instead of like feeling like you have to go to somebody else for the wisdom that you already have within yourself. Like you're going to go in the silence through the shadows, letting go of what no longer serves you, begin to transform so that you can bring forward your own wisdom and knowledge within you. And then you find that way. You bring about that spark, that spunk that says, hey, epiphany. That's what the universe is telling you. And when we start to realize that, life becomes easier and more things come in. I'm not saying you'll have struggles because there's going to be times when it keeps coming up, and if it keeps coming up, it's like a PTSD. So if it keeps coming up, it's coming up because it's something you have to see and something you have to address. And I've told people when you're suffering from PTSD, what you're experiencing is spirit coming in and saying, hey, I need you to see this because you're holding on to it and you need to figure out why you keep repeating that. What is it that you're so latched onto? And I know it's trauma, but you need to face that trauma in order for it to release and move it. You're holding it. Why are you holding it? What are you getting from that memory? And that's when you suffer from PTSD, you need to find that person that can actually dig in and just take you right down your internal rabbit hole into your Pandora's box, your taboo, what is perceived to be taboo, like your emotions, your traumas, your experiences. That's what your Pandora's box is. And that's why hope, which is the spark. Hope is the light. And hope is lighting up to find the way, to find its way home, to find the way home. You are that hope. You are that spark of life. It never goes away. You dim it, or others create that darkness around you, so your light becomes dim to make you feel like you're less than what you truly are. So it keeps reminding you of your traumas instead of saying, hey, I'm not going to let somebody remind me of the traumas. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look in Pandora's box. I'm going to look at that PTSD. And I'm going to come through it whether I'm kicking and screaming or not. I'm still going to face the darkness. I'm still going to face the shadows. Because the shadows are those parts of you. And you keep suppressing them. And they get irritated. Because just like your light, your shadows need to be seen so they can heal too. They're resistant to it. Because it hurts. The light hurts the shadows. Because it's not part of truth hurts. Your own truth hurts you. It's wicked to be real. Obstacles are like wild animals. They're cowards, but they will bluff you if they can. If they see you are afraid of them, they are liable to spring upon you like a PTSD. But if you look them squarely in the eye, they will sink at sight. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting and willing to receive and accept and be faithful, brave, most importantly, be yourself. Be your authentic self. Be true to yourself and others, be kind to yourself and others, and know that you have more strength than you ever had at times. Sit with yourself. Know yourself. Don't be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of your own truth. Face them. And you will see your life change. Sending you all one.